Well, listen, man, let's get started, Torii, man. I appreciate you coming on tonight. I'm actually on vacation, man. I'm down in Cancun, so I wasn't doing nothing this week. But when you said you was available, I said, nah, I gotta get on.
You in Cancun and doing
I'm in Cancun. I'm out here in the jungle somewhere, man.
Oh man. Is that the moon or just a spotlight behind you?
Man, I don't know what that is. It's something out there. It's a jungle out there. I know that. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. But listen, everybody, I want to say welcome to Two Man Tuesday. As everyone is aware, I've been doing this for the past year. Just really taking time to talk to people who excel in leadership, excel in business, entertainment, sports, every genre. And because I just feel like there's a common bond between everybody. And so y'all know one of my life mission is to, man, help ordinary people live extraordinary lives. And sometimes when you're talking to people, you would think they so different from you. But really you'll find out that some of the extraordinary people, yeah, they start off ordinary, but they just had something in them that pushed them to the next level. Torii, I don't know if you know, this started because I wrote a book called It Takes Two, Who is Helping You Lead. And so what I have been studying and discovered that no great person has done anything by themselves. So I talk about, as great as Michael Jordan was, he didn't win until he got Scottie Pippen.
Right.
Isaiah Thomas had Joe Dumars. Shaq had Kobe. Man, if you go into government, president need the vice president. So what I was doing was seeing how these two men is what I call them, whether it's a male or female, these people have to be great leaders in themselves, but have to support somebody else. So I did a whole study of people from every genre. It's like, man, let's celebrate the two men who can support the number one, but they don't need the credit. So I'm sure in your life, in your sports or whatever, if you had somebody, teammate or whatever, who made it their job to help you shine. And as long as they won, they wasn't tripping.
Right. And, you know, I had many men.
Yeah.
We're talking about as a child, you've had people. My dad, you know, it was tough, you know, coming up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You know, my dad was on drugs, you know, and lights were cut off. We grew up in poverty. But one thing about Pine Bluff, even though, you know, 70% of the people there are living below the poverty line, I mean, you talk about people always shared, you know, whether it was their parents, you went to someone's house and they fed you. If we didn't have any food, someone fed us, and they didn't have food, we fed them. And the situation wasn't always good, but we all helped each other out. I had other men around me that stood in the gap, you know, because my dad wasn't there, but I didn't blame him because his dad wasn't there for him. His dad passed away, and his mom dropped him off over, you know, her sister's house, and so he grew up not knowing how to be a father or a husband or a man, you know, that he was called to be. So, you know, I don't look at it and say it's his fault. You know, it's his fault for not making an adjustment, but you know, he grew up in a deficit. So we all, you know, me coming from Pine Bluff, humble beginnings, I grew up in a deficit, but I found my way up out of it. So, and I think all of us got to do that.
Yeah. So just before we kind of get into your background and upbringing, so when I say that term two man, just think about your career. You played, man, how long did you play in professional baseball?
Man, 19 years in the major leagues, man.
19 years.
19.
So who was like your two man? Who was that wing man, that person who, man, whether it was encouraging you, whether it was, man, helping catch the balls for you, whether it was your manager or your agent who did their job to make sure you can shine? When you think of a two man or your Scottie Pippen, who would you think of that you would shout out?
I would have to say, you know, it's a couple guys, but the two main guys for me, it usually is only one, but I think it was two guys. There's a guy named Paul Molitor, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Kirby Puckett, he passed away. He was like my brother, my big brother. These guys, man, they talk to me about marriage. They talk to me about finances, what to do and how to save it. They talk to me about, you know, just playing the game in general, just, you know, how to carry yourself off the field, smile when you don't want to smile. People are watching. you are a role model, even if you didn't want to be one. So they really showed me, and not just telling me to do it, they actually showed me. They went through and I watched them and I saw that and I'm like, wow, these people love them. They come to the park at 6 a.m. We don't have to be there at 9. They're there 3 hours early. They always would tell me, if you're early, you're on time. If you on time, you're late. So I started off at 17 years old, sitting next to Kirby Puckett, and all he did was drill me, about marriage, about life, about carrying yourself. Be careful in those streets. People are out to get you, and after a while, I didn't know, at 17 years old that, he told me something that was vital. He said, once you get fame, you're in trouble. And I'm like, what is he talking about? He said, family is going to hurt you more than anybody in this world because they're closer to you. And if they're closer to you, they can stab you. People on the outside can't get to you that fast and can't hurt you because you can see it coming. And Kirby used to tell me that. And I was like, man, you crazy? My family is the real deal. The higher you go up, when you level up, the other thing has to come with you. And so I thank Kirby for giving me a heads up. And I kind of saw it, and I try to diffuse some of that stuff early. So that's the best advice I think I've ever had. Baseball, yeah, they're going to do that. They're all baseball players. But when you give me advice that's going to take me to another level, to help me see something, have a vision before I even experience it, Kirby gave me something that he failed at or had an issue with and told me about it and said, this is what you should do. Give them $500 a month. If they go past the $500 a month, then that's their fault, basically. So he gave you different ways to kind of help the family out.
Yeah. So your two man was like, they was mentoring you.
Yeah.
It was a mentor.
Real life, about marriage, about everything. So every aspect of life, man, I think they kind of impart, not just because they knew what was going on, they knew what was going on because they failed at a lot of stuff. And they came back to tell me, hey, I failed at this and I made the adjustment this way. So you skipped that part. And so it's kind of like what God wants you to do sometimes. Sometimes he tell you, sometimes I'm gonna give you a favor and skip that part. And you can go on and do different things. But Kirby and those guys gave it back to me, Paul Molitor, and I promise you, they took me to another level.
Harper. Book available now at www.ramonharper.com. An ebook version available at Amazon Kindle, iBooks, Barnes & Nobles, and wherever books are sold.